guys, we are going to practice an activity today that's going to help you think about what it means to be a good citizen. As you know, last week we started government in social studies, and we talked about what the local government and the state government are. And then we talked about what it means to be a citizen, and then we focused on voting as something that citizens are doing right now. Well, we're going to look at more information about being a citizen, specifically a good citizen. So, as you work through these slides today, most of them are pretty easy to understand what to do. So, for this first one, you have two options for figuring out what these words mean. So, you have the words community and citizens. And then you have three different definitions. So your job is to figure out where these go. So two of these will go in one of these columns, and only one fits in the other. So you've got a group of people living in the same place, the people who live in the same town or city, and then has citizens who live and work together. So think about one of the things I'm noticing here too is that, for example, this first one mentions a group. This one's mentioning people. And then this one's saying it has citizens. So I wonder if having citizens would go under citizens. That seems kind of strange. So two of these go in one of the columns and one only goes in the other. Then we have stuff good citizens do. What do good citizens do? So you're going to read through the bubbles here, and you're going to decide which ones of these go into the good citizens box. Some of them do not. Some of these you may not know what they mean. For example, litter. I'm sure many of you have heard that word before, but litter is when you throw trash, things that don't belong on the ground, things that should go in the trash can. Are reliable. So reliable means that you can be counted on, that people can trust you. If you say you're going to do something, you'll do it. And then this one here that's kind of tiny says respect themselves. So you treat yourself well as well. I think most of the other ones you should know. This one says talk or write to elected officials. So whenever people are elected, are voted for, and they're in the government, that citizens would talk to them or write letters to them. You have to think, is that something a good citizen would choose to do? And this other little one here says are responsible. Then you have examples of what good citizens do. So treating other people with respect. You have to think of what is an example of when you would treat other people with respect. So if you think about when you're out in the community, which right now is kind of a different time, there are ways we can treat people with respect right now during COVID that we normally wouldn't have put here in this box. How do you keep the community clean? How can you be trustworthy in the community? How can you follow the rules and the laws of the community? How can you help others in your community? How can you help the whole planet Earth? How could you take care of nature? This one says informs authorities when something bad has happened. So authorities would be like the adults or the police or someone who's in charge. What would be an example of when you would let them know something bad has happened? And then being honest. What's an example of when you can be honest as a citizen? So you're going to have to do some thinking. And then the final slide is pretty simple. The final slide is asking you to look at the 4 pictures and determine how these are helpful acts. So you're going to look at the 4 options and decide which one of these shows volunteering. So volunteering is when you decide that you're going to do something. Usually it's something helpful, and nobody's making you do it. You chose to do that thing. What's an example of telling the police if you see a crime committed? This one is obeying crosswalks, and then donating blood. So trying to decide which picture shows each of these. So that's it. This is helping you think about what it means to be a good citizen.